Welcome back. It's Lincoln, and in today's episode, I was going to discuss existentialism, a philosophy of practice I adopted while I was in my performance psychology master's program. A few days ago, I was sitting down to make this video, and I was sitting here, it just wasn't flowing, and I felt like I was forcing the topic. So normally I would try to push through, and I'd try to stick to the schedule that I had in place, but I decided to follow my intuition. Today, as I was working out, I had an idea to discuss COVID and a little bit about my personal experience with it. So I want to look at it not only from a physical health standpoint, but also from a psychological standpoint from when it all began back in 2020. I first want to start with my own personal experiences though. I've had COVID twice. Well, I know for sure once. I believe I had it in the summer of 2020. Now I say I believe I had it because I lost taste and smell. The second time I did get tested, but the first time I had it, so I just started my new training program, and I would say my overall health when it came to the drugs I was using and the alcohol that I was drinking, my overall health wasn't where it was the second time I had it. So the first time, I wouldn't say it wrecked me. Lost taste and smell, but I was fatigued, very fatigued. So for probably 3 days, I would take naps during the day. And I am not a normal napper. So the fact that I'd take 1 to 2 relatively long naps, I was in a state where I could not have gone to work and functioned at a high level. So fast forward a year, I am in my most intense week of my training phase. So my training program is six weeks. Each week gets progressively harder. So I was in my 6th week. And I get allergies, but it bothers me a little bit in the morning. I finish my workout though, and I always feel a little better. So I'm like, okay, it's probably just allergies, nothing serious. Now, the one morning I did wake up and my right lung hurt. I was trying to think of what I did during the workout. Did I move funky? At that point, I was like, no way I have COVID. Even though it was going around, I just didn't believe it. I probably didn't want to believe it. Probably just wanted to think that I was better than COVID and I wasn't going to get it a second time. I do another intense workout and I feel better afterwards. So I was like, there's no way I have it. But I decided I should probably still get checked. So I go to the doctor, get swiped. I get one of those rapid tests. So I got it done. I found out in 15 minutes. And unfortunately, it was positive. So I go home. I start sulking a bit because I'm mad. I don't want COVID. It's now interfering with work. I have to take time off. It's in the way of my schedule. I was having good workouts. It was annoying. But it's strange because I felt better after I worked out each time. So what I planned to do was, okay, I'm gonna sleep maybe 9+ hours a night. And then I'll wake up, I'll do some reading, I'll do a meditation, I'll go on a run because I have a small little mountain that I like to go on a run hike. I was like, and I'm gonna do that every day because I felt better after exercising. So each day for 3 days, 3 or 4 days, I did this. And when I'd go on the run, now I could feel in that right lung that'd be harder to fully expand. But I kept working at it and I kept getting myself to the point to where my lungs were as fully expanded as possible. And at the end of each workout, I felt better. I would drink just superfood smoothies for like the first 8 hours of the day. My thought there was, okay, let me give myself nutrient-dense foods, but I want to drink it in liquid form so my body can process it easier because I know my body needs to heal itself. Each day I did not nap. So I would sleep 9 to 10 hours, but there was no napping throughout the day. So my energy levels were relatively high. At the end of the 4th day, I believe, I test positive on Wednesday, and Sunday I test negative. After that, I had a client who had it, and this client, he runs a 10K every day, and it's a lot of uphill. So his cardiovascular health is at a high level. And he says he believes he had COVID. He's like, but it didn't stop anything that he did. He just cruised through every day. So the point being, I'm not just trying to pat myself on the back for being in this incredible health, but it's the fact that there are actions that we can adopt and take to help ourselves live this healthier lifestyle. And this healthier lifestyle literally helped me run through COVID. So if someone can run through COVID, this disease that is so deadly, while there are populations of people that it is extremely deadly to, and for those people, they need to take extreme caution. And those are the people that do need to get vaccinated because without it will kill them. But there are a lot of us, by adopting generally healthy habits, we can actually dictate how well we respond to these viruses and these diseases. So there are these holistic measures that we can integrate that are going to help us not only be physically healthier, but mentally healthier as well. But everything that's being preached is a medication or a vaccine. But for someone like me, I've had it twice, which means my antibodies are through the roof. And there was a study done in Israel comparing people who had had COVID and their response, and if they contracted it again versus people who were vaccinated. And it was just an interesting study that showed that antibodies are very strong. I need to correct myself. So when I was using the term antibodies, I was really referring to natural immunity. So no matter if you get the vaccine or if you catch COVID, the result is your body producing antibodies to fight off the infection. So what this study was showing was that those who had natural immunity were just as effective as preventing future spread as those who'd had the vaccine. But it's interesting how the vaccine is just being pushed so hard, and it's like, okay, so where is the true health in this? And where is there just a desire to make money? And now, like, I'm all about making money. Like, I run my own business. That's what I think we should all be striving for, is to find ways to improve our life and to succeed in all realms, in business, in fitness, with relationships. So we should be striving to succeed in all those realms, but are we going to do it at the expense of people and real health? And I understand that there is a place for vaccines and there is a place for medication, and Western medicine is a beautiful thing in its own way, but it's also not the only way. There are things we can do that will help us live a naturally healthy lifestyle that is not medication. Like, we can try to eat healthy. We can sleep the amount of time we need. We can exercise daily. All those things are scientifically proven to put you in not only better physical health, but mental health as well. So looking at a big picture, now when we look back to the beginning of 2020, so this is where I'm going to talk more mental health, because for one, it took a huge mental toll on me personally. But it was interesting how when everything shut down, what was encouraged? Stay at home. Don't go outside. The gyms are closed. Don't exercise. If you do it, just do it in the confinement of your home. You're removing people from jobs, from places where they go and they find value in life. And by shutting this down, and not only that, then finances. So well-being. So stress levels shoot through the roof. And you're stuck at home. You're not able to move. In California, they try to shut down beaches. When I say try, they did shut down beaches. You couldn't go onto a beach, even if you were 10 feet away from someone. They shut down hiking trails. But they were like removing our ability to stay healthy. Now, we could sleep a lot. I slept like 12 hours a day. But the way that our stress levels were raised and the activity level was removed, we were actually being placed in a state to where we were going to be more susceptible to COVID. And at the time, for me, I wasn't even thinking about that. Now, I was in my master's program, so I actually took, the month we got shut down, I took that to research like what the effect of COVID would do onto people's mental health. To briefly cover my research, I'm going to read over a few of the statistics I uncovered. Now first, DSM-5, a handbook for mental disorder diagnostics, shows that financial distress and increased risk of health are two of the key contributors to major depressive disorder. And major depressive disorder is tightly linked with suicide. Major depression is associated with 56 to 80% of all suicide attempts. Massachusetts Suicide Hotline noticed a surge in calls and double the amount of text messages they received. Many of the callers expressed concerns of contracting the virus, financial loss, and loneliness due to isolation. Americans in debt are 3 times more likely to commit suicide. Recently, the US Federal Reserve showed that consumer debt is at an all-time high, topping $1 trillion in the United States alone. My research clearly showed that the shutdowns not only increased risk of major depressive disorder, but suicide as well. And for me, I don't consider myself suicidal, but to say the voices in my head weren't really loud during that time would be a lie. And unfortunately, I know talking to other friends that I wasn't the only one. And I knew there are other people out there who were in way worse situations than me. I actually didn't have it bad. I was able to financially support myself through that whole time. So the stress level of money wasn't there as I know it was for some other people and many other people who it could and did push them to that edge. So even before all the COVID shutdowns happened, I was already putting a lot of my master's research into the combination of sleep and exercise and nutrition, along with various mental skills to just live an overall generally healthy lifestyle. And a lot of my focus was going into first responders and helping them hopefully to not only reduce the stress that they compile daily, but have healthy outlets to express their emotions and get that aggression or get that anger or whatever is built up in there, get that out. But a lot of times people get stuck drinking every single day because that's how you deal. And it was interesting during COVID, how were liquor stores essential? Like, where does alcohol relate to health? It doesn't, but it didn't matter because that's what we were all doing. We're stuck at home, so we're drinking. So that even adds on to the decline in physical and mental health. So now going back, we're just in this like repetitive cycle of just disaster. So of course people are getting sick. Of course people are dying. And that is what I recognized within my research that was keeping these first responders or veterans or these people within these high stress positions into these unhealthy cycles. And it was reducing their productivity because our focus overall, performance psychology, is on performance. So if we can help regulate these cycles, then we can help everyone improve performance. So this was already my research during the time when COVID shut down. But now I put even more into it. Now I have an opportunity that I believe I'm going to be working with people that are dealing with addictions and working with mental disorders, and I am going to be able to work with them in the realm of fitness and performance. So I spend my thesis studying the effect of sleep, nutrition, exercise, meditations, different types of breath work, imagery, and how that has an impact on mental disorders. But this can also translate into so many other realms. Science does show that there is a more natural and holistic way of living an overall healthy lifestyle. So it's interesting to me just the extreme push for vaccines and medications. Now an interesting story. So I was having a conversation with my psychiatrist, and he was telling me, hey, these medications that are prescribed to you, you can just stay on them forever. It's great. There's no long-term side effects. And I was just thinking, so the cure is just to stay on medication forever. That is kind of what is being pushed out there. And the interesting part, my psychiatrist, cool dude. Before that, we had like 20 minutes just talking about business. So it's not like that I think this guy is like out to get anyone, but that's the education that's being put out there. And I also want to say, the medications I'm prescribed, I haven't taken them in probably about 1.5 years. And I've also found that when I actually was taking the medications about 1.5 years ago, it was actually in a worse mental space. Now, I don't know if that's just because of life situations, but I definitely don't think it made it better. It was once I actually got off the medication and then I started getting away from the alcohol and the drugs and transitioning more into this meditation daily, sleeping as much as I should, lowering the stimulants that I was intaking. My exercise was the same, but it transitioned to a more overall generally healthy lifestyle. And now instead of just trying to be strong and look jacked, I want to be flexible, I want to be mobile. I still want to be strong, but I want to feel and look good. And I've gotten to that point without the medication. And I've gotten to the point without the vaccine. And it's not that I don't think the vaccine's okay. Like when I was in the military, I was blasted with tons of vaccines. I got smallpox. I got anthrax like 3 times, I think. That was like a 9-step process. I remember my first week in boot camp, I literally walked down a shot aisle and they just blasted me with like 9 injections at once. So I don't think that my body can't or shouldn't handle the COVID vaccine. I just know that I beat it multiple times. So why would I inject that when I know I have the antibodies? I do want to get more into the research and to what I've learned and experienced over the years. Now, like I was going to say, this video was supposed to be about existentialism. So that is what I'm going to discuss next. But I think this kind of set more of a baseline and a general understanding for kind of the inspiration behind why some of this research was done. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment any thoughts you have below, subscribe, and please share this to anyone who you feel like might benefit. Thank you. Have a blessed week.